Okay, so here we go. Let's get into the nitty gritty of it. Let's start putting a plan together to make sure that you are empowering yourself, but more importantly, you are moving your life, your business, or your career forward. Every single day, that should be your main goal. And whether that's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 hours, whatever it might be, then you should be, committing to it and moving forward. So the first thing I do after I've done my triggering activity is my IBNU task. Now, this is important but not urgent. And based on what we've talked about in previous videos, I know what that task's going to be the night before because I plan everything at least 24 hours out. So again, part of the win the week is a structure of how we end our days to make sure that our mornings are as impactful as possible. And part of it is planning. So the first 30 to 60 minutes of your day should be on IBNU work. Now, what is IBNU work? So, we all live in these kind of four quadrants, which I'll come on to in a second. But as you can see here in my diary, my NUI work, typically 45 minutes is what I spend on that. And, that can fluctuate sometimes. If I'm in a flow, then it might go forward. I was in a flow this morning and, I kept going for about another 15, 20 minutes. And, and then I went on my priority work. Ideally, you shouldn't do that. You should stop when it triggers, because what then happens is sometimes it can run your day on and then you might miss something. But I was just in a flow this morning, so I decided to do it. So basically, it's something that's moving your business forward or your life forward, but it's not urgent. So it's really, really, really important that you do it. But, it wouldn't be the end of the world if you didn't do it. But you just, it's not a crisis. It's not needing to be done then. But if you, the only impact by not doing it is you're not going to move forward as quick as you would like. So for me, an IBNU task needs to be on the diary because it's stuff that 9 times out of 10 gets kicked into touch and never gets done. And that's why you stay in sort of the state and the sort of minimalistic performance levels that sometimes you find yourself in, because you know what tasks need to be done, but you don't do them. They go on the to-do list, they end up getting scrapped off the to-do list, they end up getting never done. So for me, these are the tasks that you should work on first and foremost, because they will move your business forward, kind of like below the surface. You're just beavering away at them. There's no deadlines on them, so you're not stressed about them. They're just beavering away, but then all of a sudden you've created something great. You put it into play and it works really well. So this is basically the section here that we live in, the sort of non-urgent but important. Examples are, writing sales copy, building sales funnels out, increasing your skill set, improving your knowledge around something that is going to benefit your life and your business. You could be building systems and processes. It could be, planning for things, making sure that, you've got the best, setup, whatever it might be. It's just tasks that there's no deadline on, but when you execute them and when they come off and they're finished, they make a huge impact to your business and your life. So have a think about what they are. Now, I want to go over the 4 areas. So, if anyone's ever seen this, this isn't my work. Unfortunately, this is from Stephen Covey, but I've lived by this after reading the book, and it's really served a purpose. And I've then filtered into my mornings with my IBNU work time, and it just makes such a difference. So let's just cover them off so we fully understand. And what you'll also get from this is probably areas that you are maybe doing in your life and you realize are now pointless. So important and urgent is basically stuff that we have to manage the situation we kind of get out of. Wife rings, kids smash their head open at school, you've got to go to the hospital. That is just like important, urgent. You've got no option. You've got to go. Nothing else matters at that time. You might have a deadline-driven project that, is important and urgent. So that sort of stuff tends to be the driver for most people's activity. Until it's urgent, they tend not to do anything about it. You think about, if you've ever gone to university or if you've ever had a project at work that you needed doing, and you were given 2 months to do it, you don't do it until the last few weeks, because as the deadline approaches, it gets more urgent. It was always important, but it gets more urgent. So try not to live your life in this area because it can be very stressful. it can be very stressful putting deadlines on yourself all the time. Creates anxiety and everything else that we've been talking about throughout this whole program. Getting rid of anxiety, stress, depression, etc. This just amplifies it. So try and get yourself away from that. Next section, not important and urgent. So, these are things that, don't really matter. They don't move the needle, but they do demand your attention. So, if this phone rings now, then it might not be anybody important, but it's urgent because it's ringing at me. So I've got to do it there and then. Obviously, I've got the choice whether I answer it or not, but most time, if a random number comes up on your phone, you're going to pick it up. And then it's some, a Forex or financial market company trying to pitch you X, Y, and Z and get money out of you. And, and really, it's not important, but it took your time up, and it was urgent. Emails, I've discussed emails and my thought on that throughout the program. Meetings, a lot of meetings are totally pointless. Unless there's real structure to meetings and you're getting productivity out of them, don't have them. I've worked in businesses and been in businesses where they have meetings just for the sake of meetings. And it's just a total waste of everyone's time. They're called upon and therefore they're urgent, but they're really not important. So, think about what you're doing and think about where you're living your life. This section here is just, so this top section here, important and urgent, is known as the necessity section. This section here, not important and urgent, is known as the deception, where you're kind of like, you're telling yourself it's important and it's because it's urgent that you feel it's important, but it's not. Okay. And if you didn't do these things, if I didn't answer the phone call to the trading company, wouldn't have affected my life. If I don't answer the emails or don't go to the non-important meetings, I'd actually probably be better off, not worse off. But you think that by having to do them, you've got to go. So this section here is called the waste section. So it's not urgent and it's not important. Busyness. One of the biggest killers for businesses I see is people creating busyness. Okay. There's a big difference between focused activity and busyness. So with busyness, you think you're doing something, but you never get the results, but you pat yourself on the back because you feel like you've been busy. You've worked 10 hours a day and, you've put your hours in, but you've still not got the result you want, junk email, phone calls, social media is probably the biggest one right now in our lives. Which is not important and not urgent. If you did not go on social media, your life would not change. If you didn't check into Facebook 40 times a day, your life would not change. It would actually probably change for the better. Time wasters, people that just waste your time, and mindless TV shows. Now don't get me wrong, I'm all for relaxing and winding down, and I think there's better ways to do it than watching TV. I think music and just relaxing and talking is a much better way. But people that just binge watch Netflix or I'm actually going to put another one on here because it surprised me how many adults do this. But gaming, is just a total not important, not urgent waste of time. So that's where we are. These two areas. This is probably the area you spend most of your time in. This is where you definitely shouldn't be spending most of your time in. This is where you really have no choice. We need to move the shift from all of these two areas up to here. So you're not urgent, but important. Okay? Important, but not urgent. IBNU. You've got to live by this. This has got to be the first task on your diary every day, as it is for me here. After my centering activity, which is drinking my water. So not urgent, but very important. So preparing and planning, that could be for your life, for your business, for an event that's coming up, whatever it might be, prepare and planning. Prevention. So you're putting things in place to stop things happening in your business that keep reoccurring. I've got many times have I built systems and processes out of something not working, and therefore we want to get proactive instead of reactive. So we've built them out. But it wasn't urgent. We didn't have to do it right then. The business was still ticking. We were still serving our clients, whatever it was in whatever business. But, underlying, we were building out a better system that we could put in place, and then it would prevent us being reactive and more proactive. So, values clarification, exercise. Again, it's not urgent if you don't exercise, but it's very important. You can choose when you exercise. And, ultimately you can catch up. our fitness goes as quick as it comes. So it's never really that urgent, but it's very important that we do it. So as long as you do it, you've ticked the important box and you're moving your business, yourself forward. So relationship building, again, doesn't have to be done that second, that minute, right now. It doesn't have that sort of deadline over it, but it is a very important piece of work that will, help you live in a much better space, and self-care, which kind of relates to health, exercise, but, the right food, the right mind space, the right relaxation, time off, all that sort of good stuff. And this is where you live, in this box of quality and personal leadership. So by committing to this every single day, hopefully you can see that you're going to move your business and life forward, sort of below the surface. But there's no deadline on it. It's not urgent. It's not going to stress you out. You're just going to slowly but surely move it forward. But when those tasks are complete, boy, does your life change. Boy, does your business results change. Okay. So always know what task you're going to do on a morning. What I do is I make sure I know what my IBNU work is, and I get it on my calendar, and I wake up and I go straight at it, and it gets done. And then I know I've moved my business forward. No matter whatever else happens the rest of the day, I've moved my business forward and I've moved myself forward. So that is how you start to build on sort of the pillars of success, because far too many people, they'll go out there, they'll not do it. Their day takes over them. They think, I'm going to do that tonight when I get in. They get in, they've had a stressful day. I can't be bothered with that. They don't move forward that day. So get it on the calendar first thing, get it done. Move yourself forward, and you will start to see dramatic results from just doing this over maybe the next 10 days, next 30 days, next 90 days. You do this for those stretches of time, you're going to be in a whole different place altogether. So get after it. If you need any help on it, feel free to reach out to me. Happy to answer any questions around it. But hopefully this gives you a good guide of what needs to be done. Start planning that out and start making more of a success of yourself.